I guess where to start is that blockchain is just the spreadsheet. So Teresa and I have built, so everybody's used a database before, right? You know what a database is. So basically imagine taking all of that data and putting it on an immutable ledger that then is able to be shared, gifted, sold, or other things that you can do with that data. So we don't want you to be confused about what blockchain actually is. Thank you very much for that. And so with certified assets, what happens is we've had all these companies and countries approach us saying, we want to learn how to move all of this data onto blockchain, and we're going to do it with you. So when we go to certified assets, so what Teresa was saying about the appraisals, this is a big deal. So Fannie is pushing to get rid of appraisers. They've been very clear about it, very open about it. Freddie's following Fannie. And this is how they intend to, this is the beginning of it, where they've pushed through what they call the PDR or PDC. And that's what Teresa was describing, and we can describe it in more detail. And basically, it's a way for them to capture the data without having to actually send an appraiser to the house. So what we currently have, and I'm going to let Teresa describe how this all works because she is a mortgage broker. From the lender side, how this all works, because this is super important for you to understand if you're handling buyers. Because we can work with, if you have, like Travis has a special mortgage company that he likes to work with, we could work with your lender and train them with you how to do this so you can prepare your buyers when you're taking them out to do a quicker deal. So if you want to go through that part real quick, just to help them understand why the industry's changing just from this piece.
Yeah, so there's a lot of data that we do know about houses. Who here has ever used an AVM? Have you gone out? Oh, come on, you've all used it. You've all looked at Zillow. That's a form of an AVM. Love it or hate it, right? So Fannie and Freddie has these tools. They know pretty well within a bandwidth how much this house is worth, and everything now is data-driven. I wish I brought my cell phone. I can't believe my cell phone's so far away. I'm missing it. But the cell phone goes through and captures with the LiDAR technology to a centimeter the measurements of the house. So yes, this satisfies the appraisal information. We can document. The AI is getting so good, it can tell me if it's a stone or granite countertop versus tile. Now, it's not going to be able to tell me the difference between like the super high-end imported stuff, but it's going to tell us enough that this house is of a certain level. So now that they have the access to this technology, why not get these humans into homes faster? So that's the reason. And the way this works out, so when you go and you ask your loan officer for that pre-approval letter, how many of you guys have said, well, I know that my client's approved up to $800,000, but I'm not going to submit the offer letter and say $800,000 because I'm going to offer $755,000. You guys ever play this game? Don't tip your hand, right? Like, oh, sure, we'll go up to $800,000. That's not our jobs. Our jobs are to negotiate, right? So when you go and you talk to your loan officer, you say, go run this pre-approval, run it on desktop. So you take the loan application and you put it through this big machine and it cranks out numbers. So you've got the property address. Who here knows what a LTV is? Thank you. Oh, we got the best of the best in the room. Okay, and what's the DTI? Who knows the DTI? Thank you. Okay, so you need to have credit and you need to know the collateral, right? And then they run this ratio and then they're able to tell you based on the information they know about the houses in that neighborhood. That's how Fannie tracks all of it. Fannie and Freddie, they want all the data about all the houses in all our neighborhoods. So when they know that neighborhood and then they know the human, they go, boom, we got this. You got an appraisal waiver. I just did one of those. Appraisal waiver. You have a desktop appraisal, which is the floor plan. And you can do that part ahead when you get the listing. Or you're going to have a PDR PDC. That just means data, okay? Let me handle that. I'm the resident nerd here. So that means you're going to get a data collection set that goes through the property and collects data. So that's what you want to know. You want to know how to win more listings. You want to know how to get your offers accepted. That's it. You know how to talk the talk, go to your lender and say, do you understand this process? If not, you're next, you go find that better lender who knows this process. Because that lender has to go and run this for you. You submit your pre-approval letter and you say, this is the kind of appraisal that my transaction will have. We're not closing in 30, 45 days. No. Like those are the rest of your offers. Because right now in my market, there's a lack of inventory. Going to what Gene Frederick just said, there just isn't enough for sale, right? Like we see that. So it's still very competitive. Is it expensive? Yes, but people still need houses. So because people still need houses, you need this process to win those competitive bidding situations. So you say, I am gonna close for you in how many days?
You can close in 7 to 14 days.
That's what you go do.
So you're just starting this process. You haven't really gotten your lender completely dialed into this. How have you been working around it on the buyer side so far?
We just try to find lenders that we can educate on the process and then put them and introduce them to you guys and gals and get them into the whole process. I mean, it's the same thing with our local lender. I mean, you know, we have a very good relationship with our lender and we work with a lot of buyers that are relocating into the Dallas marketplace. And so this is extremely good for buyers and it's very good for sellers, which I'm sure we'll talk about that here in a little bit, but it's just an education process. I mean, I feel like so many people don't necessarily understand what the blockchain technology is, but this is the future, this is coming, and there's nothing that we can do to stop that. And so it's just our job and our duty to be able to educate, you know, the right people that we want to partner with and work with on this, because we can close faster. It's more of a guaranteed done deal. And I mean, this is just the way that everything's going.
Yeah, who here is a listing agent? And who here has just been overwhelmed on a weekly basis having to make the calls to update the sellers about the things going on with their houses when you don't have any information or there's nothing that's changed, or you're calling because you need a price reduction? Everybody's been through that, right? So our goal with this process is, because you're doing everything up front and you literally have everything except the actual appraisal number. And we know pretty well, don't we, based on the comps, if you do a really good job of running numbers and you know what's going on and you actually have comps available in the neighborhood, you pretty well know where that thing's gonna sell, right? Now, your sellers don't always like it. So one of the other values to this process is you're doing something that no one else in your market knows how to do. No one knows how to do this. We've been testing this with these guys, and they are killing it in their market because no one else can even compete with them because this process is actually new. So just so you understand, you literally are going to be first to market in your area, and you're going to be able to get listings against even bigger agents because they're not going to be able to offer the value that you can offer to your sellers. Okay, so we talked about the loan part. Let's go through the actual listing process because like Gene and some of the other people on stage said, especially when things start getting tight, you want to do more listings, right? So let's talk through that process. Let's talk through how you actually do each of these pieces, functioning as a team, what you guys are doing. And then you guys will be able to open up questions at the end. We want you to feel comfortable. We want you to know how to take this back and do this in your own markets. So when you start the listing process, right, you set up the appointment to go to the house. So we're going to give you the assets. We have a checklist that we're giving you and that QR code, which we'll put up again here at the end. We have a checklist of exactly step-by-step what you need to do for this process. We also have the AI videos that you can play for them to show them how this works, right?
And you can give it to your lender.
And you can give it to your lender.
I made it for the lenders.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sheila woke up on Monday morning. She's like, what? I thought you were just making a checklist. I was like, no, I had the robot.
I was
film
pretty
the whole
fired
course.
up. I was like, what? Change the bobblehead, though. There was a bobblehead she put in one of the videos. I'm like, I don't like that robot. Okay. And actually, you know, Travis, you and Levi can talk about this. Like, how do you guys actually function doing this? I think it actually sounds better coming from you because you're literally doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that The biggest thing is like everyone's always talking about how if there's so much competition with all these real estate agents, they're always having to, negotiate their commissions down. And I just do not do that. I actually believe in adding more value to the seller, being able to protect them and add just more and more and more value. And so I actually put this as a package to where I can get 7%. So I get 4% on the sell side and I can give 3% off to the buyer side. And the highest package that I have is the CPOP, which is the certified property. And people are absolutely loving that. And when we walk through this, I mean, as long as you can educate, which when you go and you get certification through consortia, it's very, very, very simple. It's like a step-by-step process to get your certification. And then on the back end, you have a step-by-step process on what you actually have to do for your seller. So one of it is basically going through the house and scanning it. You're going to have your pre-inspection and you're going to have your pre-appraisal or desktop appraisal. That's all basically handled up front. So whenever I go and I am doing my listing presentation for the sellers, as of late, every single one of my deals, I'm getting 7%. And in Texas, I know every single state's a little bit different. In order to get a property to be a CPOP, it's about $290. And so if I'm going, I just got a $675,000 house sold, and that extra 1% is $6,750, and I spent $300 up front to get everything handled. And then I went over there, I did the pre-inspection, I did the walkthrough. You literally just walk through and someone's on the other line, and you click a button on your phone and you just walk through the whole property. And the sellers absolutely love it because it's really good for the buyers and it's really great for the sellers as well because they're protected. I'm working a deal right now, that's 650. I'm working on the buy side, and if the listing side had certified this property, it would have just there's so many things that are wrong. This property is in the middle of the country. It's 60 years old. It's on 8 acres, but it's got all these different issues up front that we didn't know about. We kind of knew that going into it, there could probably be some problems, but there's way more problems on this deal. And if this had just been a certified property, we would have had all that information up front. We would have known that going into the deal instead of having to do this after the fact. I mean, how many of y'all have had deals fall through after you've already gone under contract? Everyone, right? That's the worst. You're spending time, you're spending money. It's good. It's bad for the sellers. It's bad for the buyers. And that's the beautiful thing about the CPOP is you can actually charge more. Instead of discounting, you're providing more and more and more value. And I mean, the sellers, they absolutely love it. And we're able to, even in this crazy market, I had a property that was up in Aubrey, Texas. The average property was 75 days, 60 days on the market, and we sold that property in 7 days. We had one that was in Plano that the average was about 35 to 45 days. We sold that in 2 days, and we got 5 or 6 offers, and it went 10,000 over. Every one of our listings, we're selling it 2 days, 7 days, 9 days, even when the market is slowed down, because we're able to market this property as a certified property, and the buyers love that. It already has all this information up front. They know what they're getting into. Most of the times I can have the sellers, fix everything on the front end. So when someone comes in and tries to negotiate, they're not negotiating with us. We're actually continually still getting multiple offers on these properties. So, I mean, it's just a huge win by providing that value to the sellers, and it's good for the buyers. That way just everything is on the table and up front. I mean, it's a huge win.
That's awesome. So how would you, if you're one of the people sitting in the audience and they're going to go on a listing appointment, give them a script. What would you say on your listing appointment to the seller? Because this is so new, it's mind-blowing. What do you mean you do that compared to all the other listing agents we've met with? Yeah. What do you actually say to them?
I mean, honestly, most of the people are telling me they don't. I ask them a lot of questions, right? I'm well, what's the most important thing to you? Do you want to get top dollar for your property and sell it the fastest? And they're well, yeah, of course, that's exactly what I want. Okay, well then this is the way that we want to go, right? I mean, that in that presentation, every single person that I talk to say that, hey, Travis, this is the best listing presentation that I've ever seen. And it's not just because of certified property, but I do everything on an iPad, right? And I just walk them through step by step by step, and I try to ask as many questions to the sellers as possible, and really understand what they're trying to do. And so as I walk them through, my listing. Oh, go ahead.
I'm going to interrupt you for one quick second on the iPad. So are you using Shannon's virtual?
Yep.
Okay.
And I just kind of
so
fixed it up.
A buddy of mine who I brought to EXP after like right after I brought Brent, won the listing presentation for all of EXP. His name is Shannon Pyatt, and he has a program where you can get his digital listing presentation that he won the award with EXP. And he is one of the best guys in technology. He actually was the KV core trainer for EXP. So Shannon Pyatt, he's out of North Carolina. Look him up. I think it's $99 or something to get
It's
his
legit.
course. And it's a plug and play. So you take his presentation and just redo it with your stuff, and then layer in the stuff that we're going to show you, and you will dominate your market. Because Shannon and I were coaching buddies, and we traded everything for lots of years before I even found EXP and brought him on board, and it is a killer presentation.
Yeah, and at the very end, you know, one of my last slides before I actually ask for the business is I'm giving them a very detailed rundown of what the certified property actually looks like. You know, I tell them, you know, that we do the pre-inspection up front, that we do the desktop appraisal up front, and they usually have questions, you know, about blockchain technology, and you don't really have to go into detail about that stuff with them. Like, you want to know in case someone like really starts hammering you on that stuff, but for the most part, they just want to sell their home fast, and they want to sell it for top dollar. And if you can market their property as a certified pre-owned on the MLS, I mean, and we have all the data to be able to show them that that works. I think that's the most important thing. Like, you want to study this and go through the course, and the course breaks it down really well, but you don't want to get into the weeds necessarily of blockchain technology and trying to explain that it's not crypto and that it's all different. And like, you don't want to get into that. I mean, I focus, you know, all of my energy and effort on trying to find the top 3 things that a seller like absolutely, you know, hates about their house, and the top 3 things that has them absolutely wanting to move into a new property. And then when it comes time to talk about, you know, the certified property at the very end, you know, I basically give them a rundown. It's like, hey, we'll do all, you know, this, and this, and, you know, we charge 7%. And, you know, worst case scenario, I haven't had to do this yet, but if someone were to be like, hey, you know, will you do all that, you know, for the 6%, then of course I'm going to do that, right? Because it cost me $300 to get this property certified, and then I'm not having to go down to that 5%. I mean, that's where most people are losing. They're having to negotiate down, where I'm negotiating up, and I'm starting at a higher percentage, and there's so much value there. Like, definitely go and get the listing presentation. I mean, I spiced it up a little bit, but I mean, it's a game changer. Everywhere that I go, they're like, man, this is like the best listing presentation I've ever seen. And then adding the certified listing process on the back of it, I'm not having anyone negotiate with me. They're like, I'll do it right now. Like, let's go. Like, I'm handshaking deals, like at the table, having them sign off, like right there on the spot. Like, I'm trying to get the deal done right there. And so that's the whole point, is trying to provide as much value as you possibly can to lock them in, get the deal done, and then you can figure everything else out on the back end. It's super easy.
So there's something that I know I've talked to you about this, and I just thought of this while, I know I've sent you all of my stuff to help you build your listing presentation, but there's a document that I always used when I sat down with sellers that I will give to Teresa, and we'll put free for you guys as a part of the course. And this is all depending on your state, right? Some of us are in title states, some of us are in lawyer states, so you'll have to adjust this a little bit based on your state. But one of the things that when I sat down with people is my job was to educate them, because a lot of people don't even know how to sell a house. They may not have ever, that may have been the only house they've ever bought. So my job was to educate them, and I would say, here are the 4 things in the process that we have to get through in order to get your home closed. And I would prepare them for the times or the potential things that could make their transaction fall through, because I wanted them to know up front, it's not just getting a contract on your house that is going to help get this deal done. There are other things that have to happen. And so by educating them, you're saying what we've done with the Certified Asset Program is we're actually doing all of that work up front for you, so that we're taking the guesswork out of the process, and all of the pain points and fear that you normally go through in the process, we're taking it out. And on the appraisal side, what happens, because it's not an actual appraisal, so we're going to talk about each of these, but just so you know, it's an appraisal package. That means when you're doing the scan, they're getting all of the data points, they're getting the floor plan scan of the property, And then they're preparing a package that when the house goes under contract can be given to the lender so that they can order the appraisal immediately. And because it's desktop, you can get that appraisal number back within a couple days versus you waiting 3 weeks or a month to get your appraisal back. And that does a couple things for you, because I look at it like you need to be the hero. Your seller just needs to think you are the biggest rock star they've ever met, that you have taken care of them, that you're making sure that their deal's not going to fall through, that you've worked all of this stuff out for them to do it before you go on the market to prevent them from falling through in the process. So that's my goal for you guys, is that you're going to be the best agents in your market, because you're doing something that's offering such great value to these sellers because of the way you're doing this process. But it's an appraisal package, and you do get the appraisal back quicker. And so you are, if by some crazy chance it doesn't appraise, you're then back on the market within days versus losing the deal and losing your seller normally because you're 30 days in and they're really mad at you because the deal fell through because it didn't appraise. Does that make sense? Okay.
Can I just add something in here?
Yes, you can add in, and then we'll dive in each piece.
So another benefit of doing this is that, who here knows PPSF? Come on, PPSF. I'm not having to go to the bathroom in San Francisco. That's a different thing that we, sorry, that was not clean. Okay, price per square foot. Price per square foot. I know I'm Asian, there was an accent. PPSF, sorry. So you've got to know your math, especially in an adjusting market like this. Going to Sheila's point, how bad do you want to arm wrestle them to the ground? No, you should list for $750. No, my house is worth $800. Let's do math, right? Well, are the county records always right? Is the MLS always right? I love you, MLS. I love you, but it's not always right. So did somebody make improvements to the house and now there's larger GLA? Who knows what GLA is? I love you. Okay, great. So GLA. So you are basing the price of this house based on the PPSF for the GLA. I'm a nerd. I love my acronyms, but you got to keep up. So that's how you're going to do your listing presentation. And let's say it comes to 752, right, is the math, 752,000. So how should you price this house? Do people set their parameters on Zillow to 752? No, they go 750, right? So now you play that game, and the whole point of this, sorry, San Francisco, the whole point of this is to drive eyeballs on your listings, because all of those data feeds that are out there show how many eyeballs have looked at this listing. And you want this to be the most attractive red dress bow property that you can find. And so you do that by doing the math. You got to do the nerd stuff, right? So that you can really shine when you get out and you get that listing and you go market it. The other benefit is this floor plan helps sell more houses. So you just pop, who here's seen the floor plan, right, with the photos? That's super helpful, because now you're not guessing, is the laundry next to the baby room? Because that's not going to work for me. That's too noisy, right? Like, you want it somewhere else. So now you can market your properties better. And by the way, this costs, what is this? This floor plan costs $40. Like, why would you not do this? I don't know, 40 bucks, yeah.
And we're going to go through each one, and it is per state. So like the title, these guys are in Texas by me in Dallas. And so your state determines your title cost. So let's go through each one of them. So Teresa, if you'll jump in and kind of.
Yeah, so this is an example of what the title report comes back with. So what I really like about our vendor services the largest banks in the country. And they're used to doing their institutional accounts. And this is the first time they really pivoted to consumer. It's a national title company. So they highlight it all up front instead of some of those other title companies where I'm going, oh, page 7 says there's a lien, shoot, or a cloud on title. They just call this stuff right up front. If you notice, there's a little Easter egg in here saying, this is my house, right? And it says that I have a loan with Silicon Valley Bank. It's a joke. You guys get it? Whatever, a nerd joke. Thank you. The co-founder of Consortia was the CTO, the Chief Technical Officer for Silicon Valley Bank a long time ago. So, we're a San Francisco company. You can't run away from it. So this is my little haha. But then we actually presented to Flagstar Bank that actually bought the mortgages off of SVB's books. So I thought it was really funny. Sheila has to put up with this, and she's like, "That's not really funny."
So why is it important to know title up front? This is one of those 4 things that I would teach sellers that could be a potential for your deal falling through. So if I know up front what's wrong with title, and we had a deal up in Boston, I think it was, that would have fallen through, but because they were working with us, they found out there was a $25 lien from the county because of something. But because we took care of it up front, the deal was able to go through. So it doesn't matter if it's a child support lien, corporate lien, HOA lien, there's all sorts of things that can happen. And the seller may not even know if they have a problem with title.
Solar.
They think everything's fine. So this clears the air so you know for sure that you're not going to lose the deal because of title. Now, who in here spends money on their listings? You pay for pictures, you pay for, drones or whatever you pay for to get your homes on the market. Do you want to lose your deals because you didn't know about a $25 lien? So this gives you more security as a listing agent, knowing upfront if something needs to be fixed, and then the title company, because they're a national company and a big banking company, they can help cure it and fix whatever the encumbrance is on the title for you. And this makes you a rock star with your seller, because you say to them, one of the main reasons transactions fall through is because encumbrances or something's happened to your title that you may not even be aware of. So we're taking care of this up front for you so that we make sure that we're not going to have your transaction fall through over this. Is that good? Like that? Okay. Next one is the floor plan. So I'm going to hand it back to you guys if you want to jump in here and kind of describe the power of the floor plan, like walking through and what it looks like and how you function doing this and how all that works.
I mean, it's very simple. You literally walk through the entire property and you scan everything, and that's it.
So you just use your iPhone?
iPhone or Android. If you have an Android, then you can use that as well. But yeah, I mean, you literally they send you a text and you click on the link and it pops up and you just literally walk through and you scan everything.
So you didn't have to download anything. It was just a link sent to you.
Yeah, exactly. It's super cool. And not that you would want to do this, but if you can't, for whatever reason, get out of the house, I mean, you could have your client actually do that as well, or walk through for the pre-inspection as well if you're out of town, or for whatever reason you just can't get over to the house. I mean, anyone can do it. They don't have to have a lot of training or education. They just literally walk through and scan everything.
And if you have a photographer, many of us had photographers that we use the same person all the time. Your photographer can be the one that does this when they go to take pictures for you. So or again, your homeowner can do it, but I'm one of those people that I don't want to have my homeowner do things. I want to show them I'm offering value, and by me showing up or my assistant showing up to scan their home, it just shows them I'm working for them, I'm taking care of them. You can choose who you want to be the one that does the scan, but again, it's super simple. It's a text sent to you. You walk through, it records it all. This gives you the exact layout of the home. It gives you to the centimeter of the exact square footage. So then you can have the conversation of what is their actual square footage and pricing their home per square foot and being competitive based on the comps that you pulled for them. And then also it gives the ability to help the appraisal go faster, because this is the package that gets made for you to be able to hand to the lender. And again, your lenders, I know what it's like. I had MSAs. I had people that I just use the same people all the time. It's easier. We can help train your lenders, and we can even help train your title companies. If you have title companies, many mega agents own their own title companies or own their own relationships. So we're happy to work with anybody. We're just showing you what we have in place already, and we are SOC 2 Type 2 audit protocol, which is very important for Teresa and I. from a government level and the highest banking classification for security level, that's what this all is. So it's not just like Joe Shack doing a scan or whatever, or doing title work. You're using literally the best of the best in the industry through this process, and it just gives a level of security and another level of value to your clients. And okay, so let's go to the virtual site inspection. Let's talk about this one. Now, we had 2 different companies that we've used for site inspections. I don't know if you've used this new one. Okay, so this is a new company. I'm going to have Teresa kind of walk through this one, and I think that there's a video that we're going to play as, I think I can play the video. It'll show you what it looks like, scans through. There you go.
So all at once in my house, I had a new deck put in, and so the AC got broken on the way out, and they're like, it's not our fault. And I'm like, I didn't break the AC, so it's your fault. Okay, but then like on top of that, the dishwasher broke and the microwave. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So like I'm doing Russian roulette in my head. Like how long can I wash dishes before I actually wanna either pay to have it replaced, right? Or buy a new one. How do I know the differential? I don't know. It like is a good brand. Shouldn't it last for 30 years? No. Like, have you guys ever had that client from your customer? Should I buy a new appliance? Is this in good condition? You guys ever asked, like you have to answer that question? You're like, sure, like there's a Labor Day sale. I don't know, go buy a new appliance. Go get a Home Depot credit card. We've all tried to have this conversation. What I love about this technology, especially in times like this app is going to tell us the life expectancy of that appliance. It's going to tell us if there are any recalls. In your states, do you have to say that appliances are included in the sale? In my state, we do. We do the checkbox. Okay, so this takes it one step further, and we say, this is the appliance. This removes liability off of if somebody else can do this report for you, and then you include this report, and you have the client sign it, you have just reduced the liability in your firm. There are no questions going back and forth. Well, didn't you test that on your walkthrough? No, I didn't test it, sorry. Did you turn on the stove? No, I didn't turn it on. Well, what's the condition? How much longer am I gonna be able to use this appliance? So for me, I learned in this report that like my appliances are apparently super old, like there's recessed lighting and granite countertop, but all my appliances are old. That's awesome. I bought this place during COVID. So I was actually shocked when I was able to repair my dishwasher, because in my mind, I was ready to bite the bullet and buy a new dishwasher. Now we actually have intelligent conversations with our clients, don't we? So if you can go do this for all your clients, so we can do this in the listing process, we can do it for the buyers as they ask us questions, and we make this part of the customer benefit package. You can go onto the system, you can join, and then do this for all your past clients. So think about the power of that. What do you guys, does anybody here actually really call their client once a month? Really? Oh, good for you. You are a superior human being. I'm so happy for you. That's great. So for the rest of us who are too busy cranking through deals or working for Sheila, right? Like, this is a way to just offer value. Hey, I'm gonna help you with an appliance checkup. You remember me? Hi, I'm Teresa. I sold you a house like 15 years ago. I know you didn't like me, but I'm gonna help you. So that's what we're trying to do. We're gonna help you with your relationships, help sell a better product. That's our mission.
Okay. And this is the one where, for me, I used to do a certified pre-owned property when I was selling home and running my business and my team. And I would actually get a home inspector to come in, full home inspection, and then I would tell the seller that they need to fix anything over $500 or more so that I could list it as a certified pre-owned. And this is the same concept, except this company can fix the entire house. Because how many people have listed a home before and it's like, man, if they would just fix this thing, they could get another 50 or 100 grand for this thing. So it's helping people understand that there are ways that you don't have to out-pocket the money. They work out a loan program with this company, and then basically it gets paid off when the home is sold, but they're able to make more money because they're getting the home fixed. And it doesn't matter if it's carpet or countertops or whatever it is that you know, you're the professional, you're the one that can walk through the home and tell them exactly what they need to have fixed. And you know the comps, so you know what they're competing against. So this gives you the opportunity to help them fix the home so that they can make more money without having to out-pocket any money in order to get it done. Is that good? We also have other products coming because we're constantly being approached. So just so you know, this is evolving literally on a day-to-day basis. So as we have other companies approach us, we will be adding other things to this for you as value to offer, because my goal is EXP will be the last man standing, and that we are going to be the company globally that is the leader in the real estate space. And part of that is us constantly adding value to our clients to make sure that we're always ahead of everybody else. You guys good with that?
Good.
Okay. So let's talk about, my little thingy's not working. Where am I supposed to click? Hold on. Okay, my thingy's not working, so let's talk about this. So Levi does a live stream with us every week, because tell him the story of why you grabbed hold of Teresa and I and said, I'm going to do this with you guys.
I was just thinking this is the easiest talk I've ever done. I was just sitting up
You
here.
know I'm not letting you go.
I was up here just
I'm not
hanging
letting
out.
you go.
This is great. Yeah, so I mean, well, for the content, I mean, you have to have the content, just like Gene was talking, or the panel up here earlier was talking about activity. I would like to change that word to visibility. I think if you're the most visible agent in this market right now,
I like that.
then you're going to attract the business that you can do. So for Consortia, you know, this is something that we're trying to help get the word out. I mean, the best way to do that is through content, of course, and you know, trying to capture these two is like herding cats, right? So.
Thank you. Yeah.
So to do that, we just thought, okay, we'll set up a fixed time and do that. And so we, if you look on Consortia YouTube channel or look up Consortia on YouTube, then you'll find that. And typically on Thursdays, minus travel here and there, then we'll do a live stream and kind of talk through some of these situations and everything that we're discussing. Because for us, like Travis and I mean, we're learning these things as well. And so the story that I like to tell is that I don't have regrets in my life. I have learnings, but I would say the biggest learning, when people ask you that question, if you could go back and change one thing, right? That's always a very popular question. And I always think back to the year 2000, whenever the internet was really starting to come around. And I was, you know, around 20 years old, and I just thought, internet, schminternet, you know, no big deal. You know, and I just didn't take it seriously, especially as you see as we do now, how seriously we take that. And I just think about, man, what if I would have started a company back then at the time? But, you know, that time is gone. It's okay. But the thing is I don't want to get caught up in this with blockchain and real estate. I don't believe you want to be the agent in 2 or 3 years. Whenever this is full steam ahead, just like Brent was talking about the steam engine, this will be full steam ahead. And I don't think you want to be the agent that's like, well, maybe I should start paying attention to this now. Kind of like, I mean, you know, the whole Bitcoin thing, right? Everybody wanted to invest once it started hitting 40,000. But the thing is that if you want to start learning those types of things, this is the time to start now. And so what we're doing on the channel is really kind of for our education as well, but to help so many others. And as we're going through there, I mean, I'm winging that a lot of the time. So I'm just like, hey, I start asking random questions, which, and sometimes we can discuss things, sometimes not so much, but we know that information is going to continually come out. And so we want to start the education process now. At least I do, because I don't want to be that agent in 2 or 3 years that says, man, now I need to start understanding this, because you might lose out on a deal whenever it comes to that. I mean, you've got someone like Travis coming through there, showing them every single thing and getting it at 7%. I mean, it's allowing us the opportunity, you know, to beat out a lot of other, you know, well-trained agents, you know, seasoned agents. But we can come in there looking like the new kids on the block, and this stuff is making headlines right now. It is making waves and information. So it will pique a lot of people's interest. So if you say, well, my seller's not that interested in this, not so much. And the thing is that you don't have to know everything, right? You just need to know a little bit more than the person you're explaining it to, which just even going through the process or the certification that Consortia set up, you know, that's going to give you that 10% edge over, you know, anybody else, especially when you go into a seller's home. they're hearing about this every single day. And you think about this just from the fraud standpoint. You talk about SVB and who's the other guy, SBF, or all those acronyms. That guy. I mean, people are starting to be concerned about these types of things. I mean, home title fraud is a thing now as well. So think about that. I mean, people are this is coming up more and more and more. Just like I saw something on the news the other day in Dallas, somebody bought a used truck off of Facebook Marketplace, and it was a stolen truck. So they paid cash, for this truck. It was stolen, but think about all the blockchain and things that could certify that or prove ownership and the transfer of ownership over time that would allow somebody to be a lot more comfortable in a cash transaction or going to buy a home. So all those types of things are very good conversation points, and I think this is where we're heading. I mean, NFTs, all of that. You don't think about NFTs like the apes, with cigars hanging out. Think about title, anything, a receipt, anything like that will become an NFT. All that means is a digital snapshot. Just like if you took a picture, you ever taken a picture of your receipt for your tax guy, right? You take a picture of the receipt. I mean, technically, that's an NFT, right? So, and if you look on your iPhone, if you ever scroll up on your pictures, look at all the metadata in that picture itself. It knows exactly where you're at, your location, GPS coordinates, all of that is tied to that picture. And so all of this is getting tracked every day with what we're doing. But that's the power of what we're moving into, and real estate's going to be a very the industry that this will take hold in. So I don't want to be last on the list to understand this and find out. And everything that we do is always eat the elephant one bite at a time. This may seem overwhelming or a lot of information right now, but you start your educational process right now through blockchain and especially with consortia. The next thing you know, in a year from now, you're gonna say, wow, oh, that makes sense. Oh, I know exactly what they're talking about. And so that's why it's very important to start now.
That's awesome. And you said a couple of key things. Number one of the things that Consortia is doing is we're doing what's called KYC, which is know your customer. So we're validating the human. So we have a company that we're layering in for the countries that don't have things like Stripe, who do KYC in the United States, who we're currently working with, where we're getting copies of their driver's license. We have the ability to do digital scans of their hands and of their face. That's already technology that's built in with Consortia that we're working on doing with other countries that have hired us. But if we need to do that for the Federal Reserve, they know that we already have that classification. It's literally one step down from Homeland Security, who we're working with. So I'm one of those people. India has been very far in advanced compared to the United States in this regard. And the gentleman who owned the phone company is the richest man in India, and he also happens to be the banking guy too. They scan your retina for you to move money in India. So that's where I want Consortia to go. So we've talked about talking to Clear and working with the Fed to be able to go to that level where we're going to scan your eyeballs or your face or your hands, and we're going to know that you're that human that owns that property, so that we're going to decrease fraud and protect your sellers and protect you and protect the brokerages, because the brokerage winds up getting sued when something happens like this in regards to fraud. So that's something very important to us.
Was it just me, or did anybody else, this freaked me out, coming here, traveling in Dallas?
Oh, yeah.
To get on the plane, they said, step in front of the camera. Didn't ask for my passport or my boarding pass.
Nope.
And I had a hat on. Didn't even ask me to take my hat off.
Yep.
Just took a picture, and then she said, I'm in an exit row. She's like, are you willing and able? I was like, yes, I think so now. I'm not sure as I moved into that. So that, I mean, we're there.
We're there.
It's there.
We're there, and so is Consortia. So just so you know that the highest level of security is very important to us, because we're messing with people's identities, we're messing with people's lives and their data. And it's really important to me when I started working with Teresa is, how do we protect our industry? There are a lot of big data companies out there, you guys, that want to destroy our industry. Teresa and I see stuff from the NAR level and from the government level that would stun you at the companies that are trying to wipe us out. And so our goal is to literally get all of us to wrap our arms around each other and say, you're not taking us out. We're going to link together and grow together as an industry to protect the consumer and not let some big data company get rid of us because they want to make a buck off of what we have all spent our lifetimes building. So that's very important to me. I do want to touch quickly, the other deck that we were going to show has a lot of government stuff in it. And I think we should probably make that available to them, because the thing you have to understand, when Teresa created Consortia and actually filed for the patent for everything real estate, blockchain, and NFTs back in 2018, she did it to prevent or to stop China and Russia, because she saw how far ahead of us, especially China, has released their digital currency and flipped their society onto it. And Russia is not far behind, and they actually have created a partnership, if you have not read about that, and it's called the BRICS. And we're trying to prevent the US from being taken over. We're really at war if you don't understand what's going on in the global economy. So Teresa and I are building for the globe to protect the United States. And our goal with the Fed is to make the payment rail from the Fed literally go to the whole world against China specifically. That's the biggest threat that we have right now. And you can see it in the news. You'll see it in the deck that we will provide for you. We have lots of articles, and we're not conspiracy people, just so you know, neither one of us. We have cold hard facts in the Wall Street Journal, news article after news article after news article, what is happening in the world, to prepare you so that we can all protect ourselves and protect our industry, because we don't want to be wiped out. We want consumers to have protection of an agent and someone doing what is best for the consumer and not just be swept away by data companies. And I think that's important for you to understand, that we're not building just to do an NFT platform. We're literally building for the world.
We do a lot of things, and there's a lot that's coming. And our job that's tasked with us by the Fed and the calls that we're on is to bring all this to the real estate industry. And there's nothing, like, we're not pushing this. Like, you just got to understand, we're here to help the industry, not just the industry, but to help home ownership. There are things that come across my desk that I'm tapped to go help with, where home ownership, there are companies, the biggest companies in the world, don't want home ownership to exist anymore. And over my dead body will that happen.
So I think everybody's heard that data is king, right? You even hear another guy with a red company logo talking about wanting the data. We're giving you access to control your data and the data of your homeowners by doing it this way. So we, again, don't have time to go through everything else that we have built and have available for you, but we have a way for you to tie yourself to every property you've ever sold in your career. You're able to monetize that data in the future. That's one of the things we're talking to EXP about. And be able to then have a way to offer value to the consumer, because ultimately one of the biggest things that we're building with Web 5 specifically is self-sovereignty, so that you actually have control of all of your data. We had Florida ask us to build a blockchain for vehicle registration and for medical records. The DeSantis' office asked us to build that. So we're being asked to build not just for the real estate industry, but for self-sovereignty for the government, for the United States. And we're working specifically with Florida and Texas right now to bring these kinds of things about, so that you as a human, as well as you as an advocate for the humans, getting them into homes, are going to be able to stay connected, offer value, protect them. And ultimately, one of the other things we're doing with capital markets is when most of the money in real estate isn't done from transactions from us. Most of the money in real estate's done on the back end, selling loans, mortgage-backed securities, capital markets, secondary markets. And you as a homeowner, if you own a home, your home flips about 5 to 7 times during the time you own that property. And you always get that notice, your loan's been sold, right? To Angel Market, Angel Loan Servicing or whatever. So we are also partners with the biggest guys in capital markets for the movement of data. And that's a way for us as a company and as agents to be able to monetize data for the future. The other important thing for me, because when I was really big running my team, I did 6,000 homes in the REO and foreclosure industry. So I was the HUD lady. Like, I trained everybody in Texas on how to sell foreclosures. And for me, it's about how do we protect people and give them dignity if they are going to lose their home. And with capital markets, if you're attached to that transaction because you were the agent, we can then tap you and say, Sally Mae is having a problem. Let's talk to her and let's help her either refinance. We can help her sell the home and rent it back. And we can help her with dignity move from that home so that she isn't foreclosed on. That's super important to me because I was one of those people that had to do cash for keys and see people lose everything, and I do not want to have to do that again. So we're building for that too. And that's part of why we want you involved, is we want you to help us protect your homeowners and protect your neighborhoods and protect people from foreclosure.
Can we advance one slide? I think we want to talk, when your clients come in to mint their property NFT, this is pretty cool. They do go through KYC. Like, I didn't type my name in that box. That's my address if you want to stop. Oh yeah, let's go forward. So we do KYC.
Don't be stalking her or anything.
If you can't find me through data records anyway, like, please, you should leave the industry. That's my opinion. Like, you should be going on Title Pro, right? Okay, so this one, when your client comes on and mints, so I would say this is the way to get in touch with your client. Say, come in first, educate yourself, then share this with your clients. Once they register their property, they can then go do a property tax review. And so we know that property values have adjusted, even regardless of, bless you, of the property value adjusting is counties reset how they tax the properties. So this is a free service to your clients to help them relieve them of some of their property tax liability that they have to pay every year. So we're really happy to offer that. We're constantly reviewing, evaluating all these services to give to your customers and your families and your communities.
Okay, so that is a lot of information. Why don't we take the last few minutes and ask questions? If anybody has a question that we can answer, please come up. I'm not sure if this mic works, or Levi, thank you. We'll be happy to answer any questions. And I'm going to go to the QR code too. And then that way, I know there were some people that were really trying to get the QR code. Please educate yourself, go through the course. It is overwhelming at first, you guys. I'm just pre-warning you. But there was a sound barrier slide. Do you guys know the story about the sound barrier, about the guy who broke the sound barrier?
I haven't heard it.
He said it was like poking through Jell-O. He said when he finally broke the sound barrier, it was like poking through Jell-O. So that's what blockchain's like. Learning all of this is like poking through Jell-O. Just go for it. And when you get on the other side, you'll be like, oh, that's not so bad. Okay, go ahead.
First, are you guys working with Success Lending anytime soon to get them all trained and up and running?
We've talked to Jarek, and we're working with Michael, and we've just had scheduling issues trying to get all of this in front of Glenn, but Michael's committed that he wants to bring all of this to EXP.
Okay.
And if you want to help us get in front of them, that's fine too.
Okay. And I'm assuming it's mainly for homes and condos, but can you also do land? Because that's where the majority of the fraud is right now.
There is a lot
There's
of
so much fraud.
land.
There's so much fraud, yes.
She can tell this story.
I get excited. Yeah, we do that. We had land fraud in December that was flagged, and our first test cases for certified listing were actually land.
Perfect. But I know there's no floor plan, but you can still run it through the process then.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then custom homes and luxury homes that are unique. Is this usable there? Dallas, you guys are using it on custom unique homes?
There was a lady who contacted us. She has this like massive coastal listing that's and she wanted to walk the floor plan. She's just like this guy here, these guys here. She wanted that competitive edge, and she sold it, and that's how she got that listing. So yes.
And is the appraisal package close? Is it coming in like a good appraisal number?
Well, Fannie's in the pilot right now for that, so we know that eventually it will come out through Fannie that we're going to be able to appraise up front. But until then, this is the closest thing you can do. And again, the appraisal can come in within a couple of days with our process already, but we are going to be at the point where Fannie will let us appraise up front. They're in the pilot stage right now.
Gotcha. So the original appraisal package is not giving an appraisal price.
Correct. You're
Okay.
getting everything but the appraisal price. It's a package ready to hand the appraiser to actually do the desktop and give you the number within 24 to 48 hours.
I only have 2 more questions. And are you putting certified property on your signs for advertising?
We think that you should do that, and we
Yeah.
would like to help with how that branding looks.
Okay.
And in
Constantly.
MLS. You want to market in MLS?
Yeah.
And we're working with a lot of the biggest MLSs. They're looking at putting the consortia button on their actual front of their site. So we're in that process as well. But you would want to list this. You could put the floor plan. You can put the data on there.
Yep.
And then this opens up the conversation for you guys as far as agent attraction, because they're like, what are you doing? How are you doing this? And then it just builds relationships for you with all the buyer agents calling you about, man, I want to learn from you.
And then last question. I know you said they're trying to get rid of appraisers with this whole process. Do you not see that it could potentially get rid of agents as well?
That's why we're here.
Okay.
I'm pretty tough. As Teresa says, I'm like, they're going to get rid of me over my dead body. We're going to make contracts with every single person on every single level in the government and in the industry to lock us as agents into the process. That's my goal.
Hi, I'm Anne Marie from Long Beach. Following up just with your question, so then, just so I have it clear in my head, so the appraisal package goes representing the seller side, right? But generally, it's the buyer that asks for the appraisal.
It works for both. In the courses, we go through how to do it for the listing and how to do it for the
But
buyers.
if you have, okay, should I just wait for the class then? I can. Okay, and then just from like a practical side, when you're explaining this to your clients, and you don't want to use the word blockchain because it can be overwhelming, do you just say like AI or something like that, just simplify it?
AI is different. So you want to say this
Oh.
goes on a platform where, like a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Just-
And
Okay.
we are minting them as NFTs, just so you know. When you come to the system, you'll have your own wallet with your NFTs from the properties that you're doing this with. So you will have that, and then you can gift or sell or give or whatever you want to do with your client. That's up to you. But this data is not only emailed to you, but it is minted as an NFT as well.
Yeah,
But
and I would just say you don't. Once you go through the course and you go through the training, it's like what Sheila said earlier is very important. It's like where are the spots that all these deals are falling through, and when you're going through the training, you're going to start to see and learn like, hey, this is going to stop this from happening. This is going to prevent this from happening, and so that's what I'm educating the clients on is what this will do in order for us to sell that property faster without having all of these problems. It just, the process is just so much more simple and streamlined. People really like it.
And are you finding that people that respond to this, are they younger or age doesn't matter?
It actually, most of the people that I've had lately are a little bit older, I would say. They're they're probably, 30s, 40s, 50s. I mean, I've had an array of different clients, but I mean, I knew I was going to get in trouble with that shit. I was like, damn.
Now you've done it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in my 30s. I mean, I'm considering myself a little older, right? But no, I mean, they're totally cool with it. And-
Kids these days, these kids. I tell you what, it's all right. I'll work on it.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna let Levi answer questions from now on.
And that home equity advance, so is that using like a Curbio type of thing?
Well, it's NOC. It's a big company already. We just made a deal with them to be able to offer this to the consortia community.
Okay, same idea though as Curbio?
I know Curbio. These are all sister NAR companies.
Okay.
So Curbio does, I would say, larger renovations. It's similar. NOC actually started for the swing financing, the mezz debt piece, so you can
Okay.
move once. So that's really what they lead with. That product, just no one's asked for my opinion about this, but I'll give it to you. That's a tricky product as interest rates go up. It's tricky, right? So we can talk more about that at the beach or pool or whatever, but it's similar to Curbio. Curbio is more start to finish. They have like 3 different colors of whatever it is that you can choose from. This is different, where you can customize, you can hire your own contractors and bring them to the table, or you can do the work yourself.
That's like what Compass does, right? Isn't that kind of what they offer, or they were?
Compass who? What?
I'm just saying, like, just to put, because you want to be able to articulate, right? So if you're going against a Compass agent.
Yes, exactly. So this is concierge.
Okay.
That's built in. That's, I would say a lot of what NAR does mirrors, or they compete with each other about what Compass builds in as far as ancillary services and what they're doing. I would say that NAR's portfolio is very competitive in bringing those same level of services out to the agents.
Okay, great, thanks.
Thank you.
Bill Rapp, Wyoming. Good to see you guys here. Hey, with the KYC and everything else you're minting NFTs, are we going to need crypto wallets then, or do we
No.
use the existing wallets?
You get a
Business
wallet
wallets?
in our system.
The wallet will be.
Yeah, we have nothing to do with crypto.
Excellent. And then on the retinal scans, how will this affect property members, trusts, those who are using asset protection and preservation and holding properties anonymously through their businesses? What kind of impacts are we going to see across that board?
So we have a process. The screen that was up before that showed minting the property NFT, we're using AI and OCR to read documents to make sure that we have name matches in between. We do Boolean. Put the nerd away. Stop it. Yes, we factor that in so that we can match. But you have to have a real person come through the door. There is a real signer, a real person who's tied to a property.
Oftentimes it's a trustee through
Yeah, so
lawyers.
I buy properties in my company name or in my trust. And so we've been testing my properties just to make sure we're breaking it from a foundation or a trust issue, so that when we do have those people that I have a company in Wyoming, I move everything through LLCs, I'm very careful. And so we're breaking the system with my properties to make sure we're vetting all of that.
Awesome. As we continue down that road, what things are we giving up personal data in efforts to protect our clients, our customers, ourselves, our own properties? What other things are we giving up that we're putting at risk?
I would say you're not giving up. So I'm licensed. My fingerprint is like registered with so many divisions of the government. And all I think about, I put this hat on of consumer protection. We don't do anything that isn't already out there. And then if there is something that if we're breaking the sound barrier and we're going to like the consumer PII, personal information, right? When we go that direction, it's so that the consumer has self-sovereignty. So who has ever filled out a mortgage application online, like on Quicken or LendingTree? Guess what? Your information is sold through the internet like a dirty shirt. It is sold. Has anyone gotten a paycheck from any of that? Or a paycheck back from Mark Zuckerberg? Because I've never seen mailbox money. So this flips the script so that my mortgage application is then purchased by one of 3 lenders. That's what we're building toward. So everything that we do is consumer-centric. And I think that, like, I always make this joke, in 10 years from now, my kids are gonna look back and say, you didn't own your own data? Like, were you guys idiots? Like, you just gave it up? And yeah, we did. So there are very huge companies that are out there that have received, like the last one and their Series A, they raised $42 million. And it was about self-sovereign identity. You're seeing more projects about this, like where you can have this extension on your browser where you can sell your information to those advertisers that are trying to like get your clickbait information or track you with cookies. So this is more than just consortia doing this. This is the start of Web 5. Web 5 is owning your personal data. So that was a long way to say we protect the consumer.
Okay, very good.
I have a life goal to never be an Inman for the wrong reasons. So, yeah.
EXPI, we have our own title company. Is this already being integrated at that level? Because I see...
We want to. Again, we're working with Michael to try to get all of this into all the pieces of EXP. And again, with what we can do with capital markets, EXP will be able to monetize the data that it wants to make available to capital markets for the secondary markets and resale markets. And then again, this all just comes back to us as owners of the company and helps us be more successful. And this ties us globally as well, because we've already signed 3 countries and we're able to take what we've built global and literally create a global system to where transactions can move interchangeably through EXP.
Can I jump in and say, one, if you have a title company, we have helped with brokers who have MSAs, we can do that. The second thing, Sheila keeps dancing around this, the countries. I just have to say this, like, the days are long and like we're focused on making money and closing deals, but there are bigger picture things. There's a country in Africa that's had genocide of 12 million people. That's double the Holocaust, and they're gonna reunite their country. And how do you do that but land records? That's pretty cool. That feels good, right? Like, that just is cool. So sometimes we get to do good things. So.
We are in a non-disclosure state. Is this going to throw sand in the gears in those states, or?
The fun thing about consortia is, like, back in the day when we joined the NAR portfolio, is we had to build this. It's actually easier to build globally. It was easier to build globally than actually for 50 states with 50 sets of laws, all of which are different. So we had to take into account all the laws for all the states. Yeah.
Okay, we have a couple minutes, and they're going to cut off our AV and kick us out of the room, but we've got 5 minutes before they cut us off, so you can keep the lights on. Okay, so we're happy to continue answering questions, but just so you know, if it gets dark in here really for a minute, you'll know exactly what's happening. Okay, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Betsy. I'm from New York. You guys answered most of the questions. I just have one left. So for those lawyers state, is the program going to be up and running, or what's different about the ones that are non-lawyer?
So in the order form, those 4 tiles that were up earlier, there's a drop down for if your state is not listed because it's an attorney state, upload the title work that the attorney has done. And we just need to know that they're licensed and bonded, that they're good people, because it's an immutable ledger. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Anna Ambrose, and I was just wondering from Teresa, I'm a registered investment advisor representative, and is just wondering how, through your vision, do you see consortia helping with the mortgage-backed securities industry and like moving any of the securities-related initiatives that we have here going forward? What are your vision for the existing product, or where it's going in the future? I heard what Sheila said and where she wants it to go, some of the biometrics and things like that, but curious to know your vision.
Yeah, so there's a company that, there's a parent company, we've all heard the name of that. They have completely consumer-facing products. So we're all about doing what's good for the consumer. I hope that's pretty evident here. One of their companies trades 7 million MSRs. So those are called mortgage servicing rights. Close to, very similar, they're often pulled together in the same conversation as mortgage-backed securities. So all of these servicing rights and these mortgage portfolios of trillions of dollars, they get traded all the time. And so we'll be running the technology for this to start. Like our test pilot is 7 million mortgages per month. Yeah, $25 billion of mortgages per annum will be our test case, our little test kitchen. No big deal, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, I wish you lots of success in that. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you.
Just a couple quick ones. You talked about lenders getting training. Would that be the same case if we used our own title companies we're used to using? They could be trained?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. And then would our buyers still have residential inspections?
You can do whatever you want, meaning we're just making this available to you. If you want to do a full-blown home inspection, you're welcome to. This is just an added value if you want these services. You can keep operating the way you're operating, to be honest with you, or you could talk to your home inspector and have them talk to us, and then we can help bake him into the process for you. That's the other thing we can do, just like we can do with other title companies. Because we understand at some point we are going to work with everybody. That's just the reality. We understand that. It's just that how many can we work with at a time, and how quickly can we get them on board?
Hi, my name's Adriana Gibson. Ladies, you kick ass. I'm so proud of you. I am a recently retired naval intelligence officer and did people, so you know exactly what you spoke about. I did an article on artificial intelligence, Russia and China, right? So that's huge. This is way more important. I hope everybody understands how important this is. and crucial. So this is strategic level, next level thinking. You guys are amazing. My concern then, after all of that, is are we thinking about the fact that you are working with India and what was the other country? Did you say China already?
Oh, we're
No,
not
we're
working
no.
with them.
Okay.
We're saying we're trying to
Okay.
protect against what they're
Yes,
doing.
okay, so that's what I was
Yes.
going to say. So when we're working with other countries, then that would be my concern, right? Are we, because there's, that's why cybersecurity is so high right now, because our systems are getting breached every single day, all day. And so are you, I'm sure you ladies are working on that side of things to make
ma'am.
sure that when we do put all of this data, I mean, they steal our data every day, but, you know, just to make sure that it's extra protected when we're working with these other countries. That's,
So we are a private, permissions-based blockchain that you own your data, and no one can have access to it unless you allow them or sell it.
okay, all right. Thank you, ladies, you're amazing. Good
Thank you
job.
for your service. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.